Is 1,277 days. Okay. Sorry, I think I'm about to sneeze. Okay, it went away. Um, so I wish I could have come on a little bit earlier. Um, just lots of stuff going on behind the scenes. And happy Sunday. This is we just have a little bit of time left in Epiphany, and then we get into pre-Lent. So yeah, absolutely. Um, I'm a bit confused about Chris Grant. I'm a bit confused about Chris Grant, and I'm not the only one. And, this whole thing with Richard's case being the August 3rd, 2019 El Paso mass shooting case at Walmart with the alleged Patrick Crush. And it's not even alleged. He has been convicted. Patrick Crucius has been convicted and sentenced to 90 consecutive life sentences. That's like 8,000 years. At the most maximum secured prison in Florence, Colorado, that is in the United States with the hardest criminals. That's a done deal. I don't know what else the El Pasoans have to suffer through. Um, I guess they want him dead. I guess they want him dead. Um, and okay. I understand. I feel like in Richard's case, the death penalty needs to be on the table. The lethal injection needs to be on the table for the weaponization of the FBI, for um, those that committed this unbelievable crime. Absolutely. Absolutely. And we have the evidence. We just need the politics. And that's why we ask for everyone to share because I posted up, we are a government, um, of the people, for the people, by the people. And that, that comes from the prologue of John Wycliffe's translation of the Bible. And, that's just trickles out there every now and then in the history books. They've tried to cover it up because really what it does say in the prologue is that this Bible is for the government of the people, for the people, by the people. And Abraham Lincoln in his Gettysburg Address borrowed that and said this government is of the people, for the people, and by the people. And, that has just ringed ever since. And it wasn't that Lincoln was misquoting Wycliffe. We have in our state houses and, um, all of our um, courthouses at that time, especially at that time, we would have statues of Moses. We would have the Ten Commandments everywhere in this country. And, so it was absolutely presumed that the government was under every word that proceedeth from the mouth of God, right? From his commandments, and that the government under God, one nation under God, meaning his law word, his sacraments, his creation, would be for the government of the people, for the people, and by the people. That was just, um, you know, Lincoln knew that at that time, Everyone knew that. And so, but as time goes on, I think we have to be reminded of what is really for the government, right? For the government of the people, for the people, and by the people. And that is to be under God. And I don't know well, Um, I do know what got me started on that, what reminded me of that. And that's because the FBI have done things in Richard's case, and I believe in the Walmart case, under the color of law. Under the color of law, um, which is a huge crime. A huge crime. And when you think about it, it's really a crime against God. It really is. Because, you're putting yourself above God. And what does that lead to? The destruction of so many lives, of your community, of our country, of our future. It just creates a criminal syndicate, uh, a criminal enterprise, up to no good. What for a bowl of lentils, for some dollars, whatever. Who knows how good the dollars are going to be? Um, and fancy things or whatever, a certain lifestyle or whatever, but at the price of, they're like Judas's. It's like Judas, give me the 40 gold coins, which is probably worth $50,000 right now. Um, give me the gold coins, and I will forsake God. This, it's just, I need to go on Facebook and see if I'm there and see if everything's working. So here I am, and let's see if I'm on. And it does say I'm on. And, there's some very interesting news politically. Let me make sure that everyone can hear. Oh, thank you, Danielle. Thank you for coming on. So, yeah, we saw that Ron DeSantis has dropped out of the race and has endorsed President Donald Trump, which, is important for us because we lived in Florida when Richard went missing. And there was a different, we saw the whole, well, we even voted for Ron DeSantis against, what was his name? Oh, I know his name. Anyway, I've forgotten about him because soon after the election, he got caught in a hotel in a very, very bad situation, a very bad situation. And we were very glad that we voted for Ron DeSantis. And he did a good job for Florida. And so, to see him run for president, give it a go, and now, drop out and endorse uh, President Trump. It's, yeah, it's, this is all politics, and absolutely all politics, because we have all the information and we need the politics. So he's one that absolutely knows what's going on in Richard's case. And so hopefully, with this presidential election and many other elections, I mean, this is one huge election year uh, all around the world. And Richards is an international case, and his crime scene is binational. So, and then with the involvement and the intertwining with the mass shooting case, that really stinks. I have to tell you, it it's badly done. Something is very wrong in Richard's case, and then of course we know why, because it's something is very wrong in the coverage of what happened on August 3rd, which is Dallas Hart's birthday, 2019. And Chris Grant is just another case. You have, of course, the main, you know, I mean, it's just as big as Dallas, if I can say that. I lived in Texas. I grew up in, well, I was born right there at White Sands. That's New Mexico, but right there near El Paso. Went to school in El Paso. Went to high school in Temple. Uh, Taught school in Killeen. Met my husband in Killeen and got married on Fort Hood, now Fort Cavazos. And our first child was born there in Killeen. And, so I definitely have that Texas girl in me. Um, and thank God, because we needed every bit of understanding about these cases that we could get. And that absolutely has helped us. And something doesn't sit right in either case. In either case. And Glendon Oakley Jr.'s death is absolutely shocking. Shocking. Um, and no cause of death, no outrage at him being found dead in his barracks on Fort Bliss. I don't understand it. It just, it's like, who is running our media? Who in the world are our representatives, our congressmen, and our senators? Because let me tell you, when you look at those two videos, less than 24 hours apart, you know that something is not right. And then when you find out that Chris Grant, who was injured at the Walmart, who threw bottles of soda at the shooter, they never say the name, right? They never say the name. There's not, and I know that they can't say the name, right? They can't just say, oh, I threw it at Patrick Crucius. I would like to know if he identified Patrick Crucius as the shooter. I really want to know that, because I don't get it. If he threw soda, I don't care if he's not in baseball. I don't care if he missed. I don't care. I would like to know, because let me tell you, soda, when you drop it, when you throw it, when you have adrenaline and it is spraying everywhere, when it explodes and sprays everywhere, and you have your, he also said that these victims were on the floor begging for their life, and the shooter shot them in the head. Now, that's crazy. That is pure evil. But there would be evidence on Patrick Crucius of that. There would be soda evidence. There would be blood evidence. There would be, it's just doesn't, nothing adds up here. And when you see Patrick Crucius at that intersection, those intersection pictures, they're very strange anyway, right? But one thing you do notice is he's very clean. He's very clean. So I think there's a lot of unanswered questions on, Glendon Oakley's testimony that there were shooters in the mall, that the mall cops, the shots fired in the mall, that they were scared. They were, hunkering down. They were putting down the cages. They were, the children were running around crazy. The parents were trying to hide. They didn't know what to do because they were afraid bullets are going to fly. And he was gathering up some of the children that he could. Um, and then, and then he starts getting bullied right away in that very night for what he did because he said that the mall cops had M4s. And in that very day, by so the shooting starts at 10:39. By 1:43, the cops are already saying it's a lone shooter when they have someone like Glendon Oakley Jr. that they have not. Can you imagine the chaos? You have 20 people at least dead, and then another three to die, because in total three died. It took the last person, Memo Garcia, who's kind of, I think, has been thrown under the bus by this DA. But he dies 9 months later, right? And then you have another 22, I believe, 22 injured. Um, that number, I don't know if the media made mistakes or whatever. So the official number, I think, is 22, but please correct me there. But there were people injured that survived it, being Chris Grant. And Chris Grant is um, really, I don't know if there's any other survivors that spoke up so much like he did. So he is like the spokesman for the survivors that were injured. And, you know, uh, so why why did the police by 40 something, let's just say 150, right? Let's give them extra minutes. All of a sudden says a lone shooter when they had not just Glendon Oakley, but they had all these other victims that claimed that bullets were coming from other places and that there's other shooters and that there was two shooters and they were all dressed in black and they had masks on, and they didn't mention any earphones because or ear protectors, because clearly in that picture of Patrick Crucius he had ear protectors. And why am I talking about this? I'm talking about this because Richard's case has been so botched. And I know that for sure because we've been reading through these 700 plus pages. And it's been so botched. And there are so many irregularities and so many things that need to be added, supplements that need to be added, that change, that things that have changed within the investigation that were not noted. And so important things, and people left out, leads left out, um, connections left out, and we're still in Richard's case. We're still in Richard's case because never did it talk about Agent Nieto's many conflicts of interest. And so this is really important to know, is that Richard's case was botched. If Richard's case was botched, then of course the August 3rd, 2019 Walmart mass shooting, Patrick Crucius's case, is botched. Now that's very, very concerning, and vice versa. And vice versa, if the Patrick Crucius case is botched, if the events on August 3rd, 2019 are botched, because they are all intertwined by this 3905 Bliss Avenue with Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, right? Who seems to be a spokesman of the family of the survivors. She's the only one that's really been interviewed. Um, I think, please send me other interviews because something is not right. And for the police to come out, and then for the police, the head of the police to also have passed away, for Glendon Oakley Jr. to also have passed away, for Richard also to no longer be with us. And I don't even know if I should say Glendon Oakley passed away, for him not to be, um, because what is his cause of death? Was there foul play in all of this? And clearly, both cases are botched, which is more corroboration that there is something not right and criminal about both cases. And we know that the FBI has been weaponized. We have evidence now through the 700 pages from the CID report that reveal a lot of evidence, um, and very important evidence that the FBI has been weaponized in Richard's case, along with the CID. But the FBI is very important because um, of Nadal Bayim and his claims. And so this week is, we don't want to reveal every little thing right now of what we've uncovered in the 700 pages until we have submitted all of the letters that we need to submit, so that we can just give those, the law enforcement community, um, the information from us, instead of it getting twisted by maybe somebody passing on the word. So it is very, very important to make this all transparent, though. And I can tell you it's right there. They made it public, which I believe is illegal that they made that public. I believe that that shows a disregard for us and our right to at least review the and add, amend, and also supplement and correct anything that we find that we know and we can give evidence for that needs to be. And they did not even afford us that time. And that is also irregular, because law enforcement investigations are not in the public domain. And yet, Richard's case, because it was leaked, remember, they had pages leaking out before they ever made it public. And so I would advise everybody to read through it, and those that know this case to comb through it to help us, because there is, the 780 pages, and that needs to be really looked at by many eyes. And I really don't mind, because at this point, people absolutely, this is what the whole, and I'm circling back now to Ron DeSantis and Trump and what happened in Iowa. It has made us confident that the people of these United States no longer believe what the media has to say without scrutinizing them, no longer believe what the Department of Justice says without scrutinizing them, no longer believe what the FBI says without scrutinizing first what they're saying, because they have misled us over and over again. Matter of fact, they've absolutely lied. And I know that they've lied about January 6th because I was at January 6th. I was there 2021, January 6th, on the lawn of the mall, in front of the Ellipse, in front of the Capitol. I saw everything that was going on from that perspective. Okay, with a million people there, and freezing, because it was a very wet, icy day. It just went right through you. and passing out lots of flyers and lots of prayer candles, trying to find media. There was next to no media there. I didn't see any mainstream media there to cover that huge event. And yes, it was Nancy Pelosi's fault that the Capitol was not protected. And it was not. When we got there, there was no protection. And it wasn't until we followed the crowd down to the mall, down the mall to the Capitol building, and we were in the grass area. We never went up, where they were urging everyone to go up. They were inviting and urging everyone to come closer and to go up. And if they would release videos, and, you know, us that were there in the crowd, our live streams wouldn't work. You had to go away from the crowd in order for our live streams to work. And I did take live streams. And and I'm telling you this because the FBI has been weaponized in regards to January 6th. Absolutely. And if there were, and this is another point that I learned. Absolutely, there were FBI informants on January 6th. Many, many. And there were also many in Richard Halliday's case, and I believe in Richard Halliday's case, then also on August 3rd, 2019. Okay? Because whatever happens in Richard's case is part of August 3rd, 2019. So my suspicion would be that there were FBI's involved in that organized mass shooting. Okay? Absolutely. They weaponize. That's my suspicion. That's my belief from everything that we have seen. And with Chris Grant being arrested by the Secret Service in Washington, D.C., and also meeting with Greg Abbott and advocating, being very well spoken, being a strong person, having ties to El Paso. I know he's from Dallas, but he has ties in El Paso. That's why he was there in Walmart. So having been shot, having given out a statement, his statement, maintaining that he did throw soda at the shooter. Okay? I don't care if he throwed it one here, one there. He got the attention of the shooter, he says, because one went right at him. And when soda explodes, it's messy. And you can't throw a bottle of soda without it exploding. No. Something is not right. It's just not right. One of my favorite movies. I'm just thinking about it. Gone with the Wind, and Mammy saying, just ain't fittin'. It's just ain't fittin'. Nope. Mammy's right. This just ain't fittin'. It's not right. Something stinks. And we're not getting justice. And Patrick Crusius is, I guess, right now, where is he? Is he up in that max? Autistic, getting counseling for his severe mental condition. That's not me saying it. That's the federal judge saying it. and turning himself in, wearing hearing protection, and turning himself in to a Hispanic police officer, someone he is supposed to hate so much and be in so much rage that he voluntarily surrenders himself to a Hispanic police officer. It just ain't fitting. So, and my point is, and I have to say it again, if it's all wrong in that August 3rd case, it's all wrong in Richard's case. We know that. And that's why we need a congressional hearing. We need a congressional hearing on both cases, which is one case. And so I urge everyone, because you understand they use this case to divide us, to divide the Americans. And I don't know why the reporters don't just say Americans and Mexican nationals and a German national. They were the victims. Okay, this is a multinational. But, but Americans have always been, you can look at, we have old movies, right? Old black and white movies. And I happen to like them. I happen to like, with my grandkids, old Shirley Temple movies. And you can see a false narrative about that time that has been developed through the decades to divide us. And the amazing thing about it is that we have come more and more together. And what is dividing us is the lack of justice for so many of us, and the protection of the criminals, the two-tiered justice system. That is what is dividing us, is the justice system being two-tiered. So, and being weaponized against some, and totally friendly to some major criminals. Clearly major criminals. And I'm thinking about Leilani Hart. Why isn't she arrested? Why didn't FBI Nieto arrest her? Why not? Why didn't they arrest Dallas Hart? Why haven't they arrested James Hart? Why have they allowed the tampering in our son's case? Why have they allowed El Paso Matters to use a convicted criminal unreliable source to interfere in our son's case? Why have they allowed Bob Moore, who has public funding, and let me tell you, the media was really hurting. I was looking up Chris Grant's name, and there was some kind of Chris, let me put it down, Chris Fognauer, I think, popped up for Dallas Morning News. And what it was is that he lost his job because Dallas Morning News in January of 2019 had to let go like over 40 employees. So that means that the news agencies were not doing, at least Dallas Morning News was not doing so good. So, that just, I don't know, that just popped up when I put Chris Grant's name in the search engine. So, how does the media allow Angela Kachurga and Bob Moore of El Paso Matters violate their 501c3, their public funding, and engage as political attack machines, picking and choosing? How, you know, so, that investigation is going to be very interesting. And the one into Lalani Hart is going to be very interesting because we did get word that the IRS is investigating Bob Moore, rightfully so, and that the law enforcement are investigating Lalani Hart. And, why is there a two-tier system? I mean, I went and passed out um, candles, prayer candles for our son in our nation's capital. And our senator, Senator Graham, called us a domestic terrorist. And he always wants war and wants our soldiers, our service members to go to war. And then when something so terrible happens to a soldier and you need his help, he calls you a domestic terrorist. Now that is just absolutely disgusting. And I hope that Lindsey Graham does not get voted in. I don't know when I don't think this is his year, but let me tell you, I am no friend of Lindsey Graham, and I understand that I cannot wait until someone that I like gets into office before we ask them to do what they are there to do. That this is not a personal matter. That Veronica Escobar has every bit of duty to help us, just like her political friends. She is supposed to be neutral. She's supposed to help Richard. And Lindsey Graham is supposed to help Richard because, and not just Richard, but our case also, since our house was searched. Since our house was searched with no cause, no probable cause at all, which is illegal. And they don't even know, they can't even get it straight between the sheriff's office and the CID, which the CID has failed to state in their report that the sheriff's office says that it is the military, that it is the command. And the CID says it's Sarasota police, right? They. And where is Lindsey Graham in all of this? And so if it happens to us, because I can tell you this, our record is very clean. Our record is very clean. We have tried our whole lives to obey the law in every way we can. that's just what we feel like is giving back to our country. That's serving our country, is to obey the laws of this country. I mean, my husband serves in the military for over 30 years. And what's more important than that is our lifelong dedication to this country, to making it in our little sphere of life the best that we can make it. And that is to obey the law. And yet, if they do this to us, they do this to Richard. Richard, 21 years old. 21 years old, and they were smearing him. And there are people out there that I believe are very connected to those that are up to no good. And they smear him and smear our family. And I can't even tell you the threats and the harassment and everything that we have received. And what they did to Richard. And that's not even talking about the brutal murder of Richard. So for being a whistleblower, don't ever forget that, for being a whistleblower. And what was he whistleblowing on? Weapons smuggling, narcotics trafficking, and human trafficking, and endangerment to children at the CPS. And if they do that to a whistleblower, and if they did that to Glendon Oakley Jr., and if they're doing that to President Trump, or they're doing it to, apparently Chris Grant, they arrested him. But, he has some kind of record. I don't know. But they couldn't wait until after the award? And then they make him a spokesperson for really the victims? Something is... I have so many questions. And I wonder if you do too. And if you have questions and we have questions, then I think it's time for us, because we can't wait to get the representative in that we want, is to ask our representative and our senators. And I absolutely, even though I just, it's not a personal grudge that I have against Lindsey Graham. It is because he is a warmonger that doesn't want to have our soldiers back when we need him. He is not willing to go to war. He is not willing to risk anything. That's just the facts. But yet I'm willing to ask him. And if we get enough people asking, and we have this soldier that was, now I know where he was deployed to. I mean, they had to deploy him. This soldier that asked for a congressional inquiry. I mean, how wicked is that? That he is reporting on the breaches in security on Fort Bliss in many different ways, and they deploy him? And where is Veronica Escobar? She doesn't have his back. Because we need a congressional hearing. And we need a congressional hearing on both the Walmart case and Richard's case. Absolutely. And Patrick Cruz, because what illegitimate, it seems like he's illegitimate. An illegitimate district attorney we have in there right now. Because what in the world is going on that we have a district attorney that doesn't even know, and that's not true. He does, because he was judge, right? He had already done it once. He already had to, in a different position, fill out the statement of officer, which is the anti-bribery statement that is required by Texas Constitution before you do any kind of action in your new role, in your new position. And he failed to do that. He took the oath of office and failed to sign the anti-bribery statement. And I've been looking it up, according to the law, that means everything that he did before that is illegitimate. He could be kicked out. He's illegitimate. So why is the law, why isn't the law working? Why isn't he being scrutinized? Why are they giving him a free pass? Why are they giving murderers free passes? And we can go on and on about the two-tier justice system, the weaponization of the Department of Justice, the failure of our 44 four-star generals and admirals that are serving foreign and domestic enemies. That's the only thing that makes sense with the way that they've been acting. That they are more concerned about these contracts and who's going to give them these contracts. So I don't know, do they make money off the side of these national defense contracts? Or these defense contracts, being at national or something else, trying to protect a different country? I mean, everybody, needs to ask, what is El Paso Matters? Why are they getting taxpayer funds? Is that what is driving our entire economy right now? I think so. Everybody wants public funds. That's why we're $34 trillion in debt and have really not much to show for it, because all we're doing is blowing up things, killing people, destroying people with drugs and trafficking and weapon sales. And then lying that, because I've read so much by now that this is my opinion. Patrick Crusius did not shoot, in my opinion, anybody out of hate for white nationalism or something like that, white supremacy. No way. In my opinion. That's just a divisive, and it has something to do with gun control and all of that. Why do they want the gun control? Because something, we were there, 1 million people. And these were absolutely Americans. They call them MAGA. I don't think that all of them were MAGA. I think that they were Americans that were up there January 6th. And there were so many. And the way that we were being manipulated with the tear gas and everything like that, we were so peaceful. Considering in my area, which was on the lawn in front of the Capitol, we were on the lawn in front of the Capitol, and they had told us to come closer, come closer, come closer, and then they started tear gassing us. So I'm being tear gassed for passing out flyers on the lawn of my capital of my country, and everyone knew that we were coming. Everyone knew it was organized. We rode up there on an organized bus. especially for the occasion, and they were not prepared. They were not prepared with any kind of security. And we pay what? Billions of dollars we allocate for security, and they don't even have security. Yeah. Um, something is, this is, we need hearings. And we can't wait for them to just do it out of their own goodwill. So please share. Please even share representative numbers and senator numbers if you have them. Please share those. And in the comment section, please share it with veterans groups. We absolutely need the people to help us multiply the word out there. Because 23 people were killed, and then Glendon Oakley Jr. was killed. I don't know if he was killed, but there's no cause of death, and absolutely Richard was killed. And then we have all those that were injured. And if they can get away with this, and I would really like to know the true story. I would really like to know, because it needs to be exposed, because I think that there is a lot of FBI informants behind this. And why do I think this? Because when we got confirmation that there were FBI informants within Team Farm Richard Halliday and this case, I looked it up. I was like, okay, what is an FBI informant? They normally are individuals that have records, that make a deal with the FBI to inform them about certain things, and the FBI funds them and then gives them immunity to crime. So what they're doing is they're taking criminals and giving them immunity to commit more crimes, just so that they can get certain information. And this is on our list to really change, because there are not just a handful of FBI informants. There is an entire host of FBI informants that cost us millions and millions of dollars a year, and they have immunity to commit crime. They are actually paid criminals that have no consequences. That needs to change. And so if you're wondering how they weaponize the FBI, well, that would be one really good strategy. And they've done it, and they've absolutely weaponized the FBI. And so when you ask, how can a supervisory special agent like Jesus Eddie Nieto Jr. be weaponized and be so bold about it? Be so bold? Well, because he has a bunch of FBI informants, a bunch of criminals that have immunity, that can do some really bad stuff out there. Very bad stuff. And what is really concerning is we hope that it doesn't cross the border. Because Richard's case is absolutely an international case, and it's absolutely, his crime scene is binational. So thank you so much. I hope you share, and yeah, I know it chokes you up to think about what they did. So I will be back tomorrow, God willing. Please share and please contact um, our government to get a congressional hearing. Thank you.